Good evening, everybody. It's great to be together. Some people have said, kind of, what exactly are we doing? The honest answer is we don't really fully know. I don't think anybody does. The government are doing their best, obviously, but as we do in Ringwood, we're trying to muddle through. We're trying to work it out, and we're really grateful for everybody's support. And together we can. I think that's the answer, isn't it? Together we can make it happen. And it was great. Tony Ring, our mayor, he came along on Saturday night and was being very supportive about it as well. I see Philip Day over there as well, and trying to look undercover. But it's great that we can, different groups, and we'll introduce different groups in a moment, but it's great that different groups can get involved, and hopefully we can make something happen. Now, as you'd appreciate, we're a mixture of people here. Some are church people, some are non-church people. But I said to Matthew Trick, can you pray at the beginning? Because we don't know what we're doing, and we could all do with a little bit of help. So Matthew, if you want to pray for us, that would be great. And as Matthew's coming up, hi to anyone joining us online as well. And whether you're watching live or later, it's great that you can be part of tonight as well.
Red. If you're a Christian, we'll pray. And if you're not a Christian, come and talk to me afterwards. We'll just share common humanity with those who are going through a very traumatic a series of events at the moment. So let's either be silent or pray, whichever comes naturally to you. In the Bible, we read, "Perfect love casts out fear." And we know that fear is running high at the moment in the Ukraine. But we know that there are occasions of great beauty as volunteers and aid agencies and communities in various countries around the world respond to those having to flee their home. And so we do pray that the perfect love mediated through acts of kindness and compassion may help mitigate the fear being experienced by Ukrainians today. We think and pray for those Ukrainians still in their homeland, in communities being assaulted by bombs and warfare. We don't pretend to be able to imagine the trauma, the fear, the terror of those experiencing that bombardment. And we pray also for those Ukrainian guests who have been welcomed into communities across our nation, and particularly here in Ringwood. We pray for the fear of displacement, the sense of disconnect from all that normally would be familiar. And we pray for your blessing on our endeavours to respond with love and compassion as a community to those who are in desperate need. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Brilliant, brilliant. Well, to start with, if we just introduce ourselves, if I can introduce you guys, and Katia as well, if you can introduce yourself as well. Owen, do you want to kick off?
I'm Owen. I'm helping to do the kind of admin of this. I was managing director for an engineering company for a number of years, and we recently sold that business, so I'm free and available. It just so happens, some good timing, and so I'm able to devote quite a bit of all of my time to this for what it takes. So that will just help us move quickly and join the dots.
And Kevin?
Is that working? It is. My name's Kevin Jones. I worship at Ringwood Parish Church. I'm a pastoral BCM with the church. I'm an architect, actually, by trade. And I have been involved with a number of situations in Ringwood where we've looked to work together to help different people, different bodies. And so I'm working with this group to try and coordinate other organisations in Ringwood as they come together.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for coming, and I feel privileged that I can I can be here as well. So my name is Katya. I'm Ukrainian. I've been living in the UK for the last 13 years. And I've got lots of friends, family in Ukraine that I've been in touch, and I'm helping to this time to them to come to Ringwood. And they actually I just said that they I've got friends in a different regions all over Ukraine, and currently we got around, I would say, 25, 30 people who get out from the hotspots, such as Kharkiv, Mariupol, Kiev region, Chernihiv region, and ready to come here. So, and it will be, I believe, will be more to come. So, I'm in touch with them daily, helping with documents, translation, and yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant. So that's a bit of an intro. I know there's plenty of other people here that are already very much involved. We had a chat on Friday, didn't we? And there's all sorts of people. There's, if I mention one or two people, and then others can, when we have a Q&A thing later on, people can sort of share a little bit more. I know Chris Lee from the food bank is around. Chris, can you give us a wave? So if you want to talk to him, have a chat with him afterwards.
Loads of other people.
And loads of other people from the food bank as well, yes, of course. Suzanne Feek, you might not know. Suzanne has been working with Two Saints, a charity in Southampton, welcoming Syrian refugees for a few years. And so she's got a bit of experience, and she's shared some of the material that she's got and developed over the years. It's been helpful for Syrian friends to come here as well. So that's fantastic. And then Richard and Julie at Love to Be, I've seen somewhere. Yeah, excellent. And we're very grateful to you for putting on the event on Saturday night in conjunction with the Furlong and various other people. So it's great that you're here too.
Just a shout out for Lily as well, because she's already up and running and been doing some fantastic work already, bringing people, connecting people and so on. So she's bringing her experience, which is really appreciated, into what we're doing here. It's amazing.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, Katya, was there anything else you wanted to say about your friends? The great thing really is that we're blessed here in Ringwood and that we've got someone from Ukraine who's got contacts there. So we're a little bit ahead of the game in some senses. Other towns are really keen and eager, but they're having ploughed through the 50-page document. Well done for anyone who's managed to do that. But, the first phase, I understand it, is friends and contacts. And we're blessed with someone who's got contacts there that need to get out, that want to get out. Some of them know English already. I think one of them's an English teacher and one of them's a translator, and they're people that are keen to come here. Do you want to just share a little bit more about that, Katya? So you've said there's maybe 25 people you're in contact with. A lot of them know you, so we're also blessed in that if people come to Ringwood, they're automatically going to know somebody, and some of them are going to know each other as well.
Yes, so most of them I know personally. Few of my friends that are my childhood friends, and that I've known them since age of 10, and their sisters or their parents-in-law, and there are a few people who I did know, but we met through video call, and they were telling me about who they are, where they're from, and most of my friends, they're fluent in English, and I'm from Slavutic, it's Kiev region, the youngest town in Ukraine that was built after Chernobyl catastrophe. So, people, so I got a few families from there, from Mariupol, from Kharkiv, and different age. We got a couple of the age of 60. Most of other friends, they are my age, a bit older, with young children. One child, two children, and
Brilliant. And some of them, as you say, have escaped from some of the dangerous regions and have journeyed across Ukraine already and are on the border.
Yes, the the journey has been very. There's nowhere safe in Ukraine right now. Even if you heard in Lviv, in the west of Ukraine, a few days ago, it's been air sirens and bombs. So there's nowhere safe. But particularly north of Ukraine, where from both sides we go Belarus and Russia, and they are. It's almost impossible to get out, and my friends who managed to get out telling me that after a few hours in the same place or village they've been passing, after that the bridge was blown, or so they are, yeah, it's very, very hard, and still got friends who are trying to find a car or petrol or to get, but I got few friends who are already in Poland. They're waiting in Poland, and they're waiting for documents, visa. I got some friends who are in west of Ukraine, not far from Poland, ready to go, and yeah, just different situations. So we're just waiting for the documents, but still quite a lot of friends. Right now, around seven more people who are hoping to get out, but there are Russian troops and tanks, and they can't right now. But same like with my friend that I've been asking to pray, Tatiana, that for a few weeks we thought it was absolutely impossible, and then a couple of days, we found a car, we found a way, and it was 5 different changes, and including crossing the river, where it was very dangerous. But she's in Warsaw now, and she's safe, and she's staying at the Catholic church, and lovely nuns and Ukrainian volunteers are looking after her. So, and the same with my other friends. So,
Brilliant.
Yes.
Thanks, Katya. Owen, do you want to tell us a little bit about some of the stuff you've been doing in the background?
Yeah. So I think the first thing to say is just how incredible the response has been already. I mean, the generosity and welcome and readiness to reach out of the community just it's amazing. And and the people in this room, a lot of people probably watching as well who can make it tonight. It just kind of, it's quite emotional to see just how people are reaching out. So it's just amazing. We've created a little group, which is the Love Ukraine group, or LUG for short, which is across kind of community things. So there's some of the organisations been mentioned, and others, and anyone who's got something to bring on an organisational level, we're welcome to join them or link with them. And Kevin will talk a little bit more about that in a moment. Right now, there's a few things. The first priority, of course, is there are people in danger right now. So the first priority is how do we get them to safety, and part of that involves the visa application process. So we've created a detailed guide, so that, because the process is not very straightforward, so that people know what to do. It shows you, and we'll improve that as we go. But screen by screen, it kind of just talks you through how to do that. And we've got people now experienced in that process who can give support in that, and and thank you to those people that have been doing that. So that's kind of immediate priority, but in parallel with that, it's really, a lot of it's about getting a shared vision. Where are we going with this? What are we actually trying to achieve? And how are we going to do that? So within that group, we've been thinking about what are we about, and we've kind of summarised that down. Is what we're about here is to provide a safe, stable, and welcoming environment for people coming to the Ringwood area from the war in Ukraine, and integrating them into the community. And then beyond that, we've got some goals that we'd like to achieve. One of which is that we want some good to come out of this. It's a dreadful situation, absolutely beyond our imagining. But what can come out of this that is good, and not just short term, but a long-term good, you know, in terms of the connections and the links and whatever other things that might come out of this. So we've got an eye to that as well, and that kind of longer-term thing. So we're going through that, and then behind some of that, there's the kind of the more admin stuff. So we're trying to organise ourselves so that no one individual has to carry more than they can bear, and also that we can invite more people in to join with that giving. And you know, it's blessed to give, and we want to give as many people the opportunity to give and receive that blessing, whatever that might be, in return. And it is extraordinary. I created a little Facebook page a few days ago, and I thought, I've done that now, and how am I going to manage this? And today I was just thinking, I don't know how to manage that. And then Kirsty got in touch and said, you need some help managing a Facebook page. I go, wow, how did you know? So it's brilliant, you know, and it's just things like that, and it's all the time, and it's just like, you know, it's just amazing. And of course, there's the more mundane things. So we're looking at how do we deal with GDPR, how do we deal with if people give donations, how do we manage that in a responsible way? You know, what do we do about safeguarding? Is it us? Is it government? So all those kind of things. And if you've got specific questions, we'll come to those. So they're not things that we're ignoring. They're all really important. And around planning as well. You know, what's a short, mid, and long-term plan, and put a bit of detail around that as well, so that we all know where we're going. But it is quite early days, you know, and so I'm sure, yeah, all the best plans adapt as we go along, and we'll see what happens. But I think the heart intent is really for those individuals and families that are in absolute desperate situation, you know, beyond anything we could imagine, and how can we help them. Just one last comment as well. I've seen some commentary about Homes for Ukraine as a scheme from the Refugee Council and from others, saying, you know, that there's some problems with this, some risks. And actually, I think the whole reason we're establishing is because there are some problems and some risks and some things that we can only deal with at a local level, and the government can't deal with. You know, and so the whole point here is not to replace government, but to look at what they're doing and how can we fill the gaps that are, in some cases, evidently there, and say, okay, this could go wrong, that could go wrong. How can we as a community make sure that it doesn't, and that this really goes in a way that everyone goes, you know, wow, wasn't that a great response? So yeah, that's where we're at.
Thanks, Aaron. And then Kevin, do you want to say any more about, you've had contact with different groups within the community. Do you want to mention a few of those?
So I think if I can carry on from where Owen has left off, really, we recognised quite early that we work better together. Ringwood, particularly as a town, seems to be able to pull together very well. So there are two parts to what we're doing. The first is bringing people here, bringing them to a place where they're safe, but then also coordinating what we're doing with all of the other organisations that exist through Ringwood and individuals. So over the last few days, I've been reaching out to different bodies, different organisations, and to mention a few, Ringwood Food Bank, Greyfriars, the schools and the health centres. What I'm hoping to achieve is a way of bringing our efforts together. So if we take the schools, for example, we know that the schools are under pressure. The schools are still waiting for advice from further up the chain, from Hampshire. Nevertheless, we've been able to talk with a number of the head teachers and contacts in the schools, and Hilary has volunteered from Ringwood Infant School to coordinate all of the schools' approach to things. We will feed back to the schools the information that we know in regards to the people that are coming, and in turn they will talk to us about the procedures as they start to formulate what they're doing. So that's our approach, is really to act as a central point where we can put people in touch with other organisations that may be able to help. At the lower level, I wouldn't say lower level actually, but at a different end of the scale, I talked today to Men's Shed. So Men's Shed as an organisation have said, yes, we will be there to help if there's a calling on us that where we could help. So I'm hoping to reach out to every part of Ringwood, each element of society, and bring them together and just coordinate that into, well, at the moment I'm producing a mapping document, which we will then be available to support those of you that are welcoming families into your home.
And in terms of welcoming families into home, I mean, we're not quite sure exactly when that's going to happen. I mean, Katia, and Owen, do you have an idea when people might turn up? Just because I know some of you are volunteering and you're waiting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're just waiting for confirmation of we got 3 applications yet
We've got about 10 applications in now.
not to confirmation for the visa, and we applied a week ago. Yeah, the first
The first ones, it went live on Friday. We had the first ones in over the weekend. We've had one response so far that says it's outsourced in terms of the first part of the process. One has gone through that outsourced process, whatever they do, and is now with the Visa and Immigration Service in Sheffield. So, in fact, somebody else mentioned me just now that they've had one of those back as well. So there's some things happening. But the other thing we're doing, I've been talking with New Forest for Ukraine, and the MP for New Forest East, with the blessing of the other MPs in the area, we're providing him with the registration numbers, so no personal details, but when you apply, you get a registration number. So we're giving him those numbers, and he's promised every day to go to the cabinet office with that list. And I wouldn't say expedite, because that wouldn't be the right thing. We're not trying to jump a queue, but make sure that it's treated with urgency overall. So that's going on. But the answer to the question is we don't know when they're going to arrive. The emails we had in terms of where they are in the process said, depending on which service you've selected and how much you've paid, well, no one's paid anything because it's free. You're either super priority, which is 24 hours. Well, it's been more than 24 hours, so we're clearly not that. And then there's a list of timings down to a number of weeks. So we hope we're not far off super priority. I can't imagine anything more urgent. So it's probably to do with their backlog and the number they've got. We know that on the Families for Ukraine scheme, that they've had 37,000 applications that have been submitted. There's more that are pending, but they've not clicked submit yet. Of those, 12,500 need to go to a visa application centre, which is typically in Poland or somewhere like that. And there's around about 15,000, something like that they say have been approved. That's the family scheme, but that's been running a lot longer, and they've got a backlog of about 5,000 to do. So that's not this scheme, although some people are applying through that scheme because they've got family members. So that's kind of where we are. So they're clearly dealing with thousands of cases, but they're not publishing any data on this scheme yet in terms of number of applications or number of, that have been granted at this date. So at a national level, nobody knows.
I'd just like to add that I know few families through my friends in London and the Ukrainian, my Ukrainian friends, that they came to them. So through the family visa, because there's 3 ways: family visa, sponsor visa, or through organization. So through the family visa, it took 7 days to get the visa, and then I know, not personally, but through my other friends who came by a sponsor visa, and they're already in the UK, and it took them around 2 weeks. So it's just that from what I heard already arrived. So hopefully it won't take long. But again, it depending on whether they have an international passport or internal. So it depends. But from what I heard, it's roughly 2 weeks wait. And
Brilliant. So I know one thing. How many of you here have already signed up for hosting? And fantastic. So in answer to my questions now, we don't actually know exactly, but it might be in the next couple of weeks or the next week or so. In terms of being culturally ready, again, we're going to be learning on the job a little bit, but do have a chat with Katia later on about the culture of things. We'll ask you a couple of questions about culture in a sec, but I've got a friend from Moldova who came to the UK, didn't know too much. He's in Moldova. If you go to someone's house for a meal, and they offer you food, you refuse it the first time, you refuse it the second time, and then you know they persuade you to have food with them. It's just a cultural thing they do.
We don't do that.
So what he did, he was invited to someone's house for lunch, Sunday lunch. He sat on the sofa. They said, "Do you want to come for lunch?" He said, "No, I'm fine, thank you." And the family said, "Oh, okay, well, we're eating." He waited for the second invite. It didn't come. He sat on the sofa watching them have Sunday lunch. And then he did a bit of cultural training, and he wasn't so hungry after that. But, you know, some of these things can be quite amusing, but some can be really quite complicated. Are there any, it would be great, we're going to need some training. Is there anything particular that we just need to know straight away, Katia?
Well, first of all, what I would like to say, on behalf of all my friends and all the other people, they became friends, because I said now during this dark time, I don't, they know, well, all the people who I meet and try to help, they're friends, or they're very close to the heart, because it's, yeah. And I wanted to say, so with being in contact with every single person, all of them, they're very, very grateful for what we do, that they have this chance and opportunity just to go somewhere safe. Because when I was asking, and like, what are your thoughts? And they very anxious how they want to stay permanently. They want to go home as soon as they can. It's the main thing is they just say we're not fussy. We will not. They don't expect anything special, because all of them, they just say that I just like, I don't want to hear air sirens anymore, and for just for the safety and sake of the children, they want to get out somewhere safe. And it's very, very hard for them to leave their husbands there, who have to stay and fight. But from the cultural differences, I can say that we are very open, and if we once we become friends, we're very close. So it's normal for us. If I got a friend who lives 500 kilometers away, and she calls me during the night and say, like, I feel I'm in trouble, or I feel down, and I say, okay, I'm leaving. I'll be there. And so that's the culture I grew up with, and also it's slightly changed, but it was pretty normal to just knock on the door and to say, like, I just cooked pie and would like to share. So it was very, very open. But if you don't know somebody, or like walking on a street or go in a shop, in Ukraine or post-Soviet Union countries, people do not normally smile to someone who they don't know. While here, which I really, really like, that people are very friendly, and you know, I've never felt in 13 years like not welcomed or foreigner, because I just really love the culture, and I love living in England. But you know, I've got two homes in Ukraine and here. So. And my main worries of my friends who've got children, will they be able to go to school? To those who don't speak English, how they can communicate, if they can learn a bit. So, and to those who come into Ringwood, I say that I'm here. I'm happy to help. And to all of you, if you got families who don't speak English or basic, please, I'm happy to leave my number and just to meet them personally, or any help.
Okay. Do you want to mention the video?
Yeah, so thanks, Katya. One of the things we're setting up and it will be a welcoming sub-team. Well, in fact, Julie's going to head that up just to think about how to do welcome packs, things like that, welcoming events, and ongoing well-being as well will be really important. As part of that, there'll be some cultural awareness that we'll do. And I started just my own benefit looking at some things on that. There's a 2-minute video clip. Selected it because it's only 2 minutes long. That we'll just show you now. Just gives you another, and it reinforces what Katya was saying a little bit. You're going to be in the way.
It's definitely a different culture there. I definitely picked up on some of the cultural isms in Ukraine. For example, you never wear your shoes in the house. So as soon as you enter someone's home, you take your shoes off and they give you slippers. So they are amazing hosts. They will always give you slippers or like a robe if you're cold. They'll feed you tea and cookies. You'll never leave a Ukrainian's house hungry. They'll always feed you at least something little. They're very conscious about health. So if you're feeling sick, they want to do anything to make you feel better. They'll give you their remedies. They'll give you tea. They will do anything for you. They're very concerned when, like if you're outside, if your hair's wet in the winter, they're very concerned that you're going to get sick, or they'll give you their scarf because they're afraid that you're going to get sick from your neck being exposed. Or also if you're not wearing a hat in the winter, they will honestly give you their own hat or give you their own jacket. So they're very generous people. And they're health conscious in the way that they don't ever sit on the ground because it's dirty. They don't sit on cold benches just because they worry about that affecting their health. Ukrainians are they may seem not open at first. I mean, oftentimes they do, but if they don't, once you become friends with them and once you do gain their trust and you show an interest in them, they're your best friend forever. They will trust you with anything and they expect you to be their friend for a very long time. So I've been lucky in the sense that I've been able to stay in contact with many people from my mission since I returned home, and they're the most loyal friends in the whole world. They will keep in contact with you. They want to know how you're doing. They want to continue talking with you. So I'm lucky to be able to still talk to them all the time.
Do you agree, Katya?
Can I just add? Yeah, I totally, 100% I agree. And I just would like to say that all the friends that I been talking, and all of them, whether different professions, different backgrounds, and my few friends are English tutors, then I got other friends, she's a hairdresser or beautician or chiropractor, and all of them, they say this because they're so grateful that they invited and they can stay at somebody else's house. They worry that especially those whose English not perfect, they're willing to give, and they say I'm happy to help with cooking and cleaning and babysitting, and I'm really good at gardening, and I'm happy to to do hairdressing or whatever. So whatever the skills are, whether accountancy or so whatever they can do, they would like to be. They don't want to feel that they are intruding.
Burden.
Yes, they don't want to feel that your family would feel uncomfortable because they have to stay, and they understand that every family's got different, habits, routine, and they don't know, because they're so grateful, and they're the tears and very emotional, and they just really, really would like from this side everyone to feel that they are, they can. They become friends and share, and not to be, so you don't feel uncomfortable. And so they're just very, very grateful. And even yesterday with Julia, when we called the girl called Katya, there were tears, and say, I don't believe this, I don't know what to say, because where they are now, and they've been through the last 3 weeks, imagine constantly, several times a day and in the evening with children, go in a shelter to hearing all the noise, and emotionally it will be very hard because I've been in touch with a psychologist in Ukraine that we can help them emotionally because there will be, panic attacks or post-traumatic syndrome, so they will need, some help in this, and I'm sure I will be fine. But just, please don't worry about the Ukrainian cuisine, like the couple from Mariupol who are going to stay with a 70-year-old man, and she was so happy that she can cook because she, yes, great. Yes, so please, if you got any questions about that, please ask me, and I'm happy to, I'm there for you, so.
Thank you, Katie. Well, should we open it up a little bit now? If people have got questions or comments they want to share, please do. Please do.
Good point. Sorry. Yeah. So if you're interested in hosting or interested in finding out more about hosting, there's a sign-up sheet specifically for that, which we'll make available at the back. Yeah. And also, I'll just come a minute. If there's another sign-up sheet, if you want to help in other ways, and just pop your details down and let us know, and then we'll get back in touch with you with a little bit more about how you can do that and all of those things. Yeah, that's absolutely.
Our supply of toys is limited.
Yeah.
And I know that there are a lot of people out there who will have children, grown up and
Absolutely.
toy. If every family gave a toy,
Yeah.
we'd soon have quite a nice collection. But equally, if you had it in a hub where you could come and see what's there and not just rely on individuals.
So
Same with clothes.
absolutely. So we have been discussing that as a group. There's a few things that will be happening. There's the welcoming thing. So we've discussed already about having a few toys appropriate to the children that are coming, that they can actually have those themselves. The Ringwood benefice of making available the hall at St John's Church down the road for the community to get together twice a week in the mornings, and there'll be other things there where things like toys could be held for that. So very much something on our minds as to how to. So, really good point. That's something we're really keen to make sure that when they arrive, they feel not just they've arrived and they're safe, but they feel really welcome and able to kind of have a good experience.
So at the moment, the school's positions, there's two, the Hampshire registrations for all of the schools with the exception of the senior school. The senior school as an academy has its own admissions policy. So as it stands at this point in time, each family would need to apply through the Hampshire registrations policy to be able to get a school place. Obviously, the schools haven't had any advice since the 15th of March. So what Hillary's aiming to do is establish what the position is and moving forward and how that might happen. What we're hoping to do is by helping to coordinate people who are looking to host families and also knowing the numbers that are coming in, is better feed that information into the schools so that they can start to work out where they've got capacity. And if they haven't got capacity, what the alternative might be. And we have, and these are just discussion points, explored the idea that maybe initially they may be able to just meet in community groups, and there may be some teaching that could be undertaken there, or it may be that the schools could cooperate with some sort of Google Classroom so that there is something coming out of the schools. But these are only discussion points because there is no government advice at this point in time, and the system is literally, yes, as you say, you register individually and then the schools will put them through the normal process. But by linking with the schools at this point, we hope to try and ease that process and perhaps get some sort of formula out of that as to how it will work.
Are there other questions or comments to throw out? Do we have another microphone that we can?
Sorry, it might be better you have a microphone because of people watching online. They may not hear.
So I'm part of the Forest Ringwood Infant School, and throughout the year you might see we put quite a lot of posts up for collection of clothing and things for our bag for schools, but I'm sure we could divert those to the Ukrainian when they come over. We just need somewhere to sort them, I suppose, isn't it? Because at the moment we collect them all and then they just all get bagged off and go, but obviously we could just sort them all and put them into boys, girls sizes, and then...
One thing that I've been discussing with New Forest for Ukraine have got a very good system in place. Not so much for if things that we want to keep, but if there are people who want to give, get in touch, because they've worked out collection, distribution, forwarding on to Poland and into Ukraine, and they've got the right contacts on the ground. So they go directly to the people that need them, either in Poland or in Ukraine. So do get in touch, or get in touch with them directly around that.
Wardrobe Foundation is an organisation that puts specific packs of clothing, personalised clothing, together for ladies that need it. So all you would need to do is get the sizing of that lady, and then get a personalised pack of coats, jackets, scarves, trousers, etc., etc. I've emailed my details already to Owen, it's Katrina. Wardrobe Foundation, based in Cranbourne.
You mentioned the Love Ukraine group. Is that a Facebook group?
Yes, it is now, yes. Yeah.
And is it, because I just searched and it didn't come up with Love Ukraine group. Thank you.
Yeah.
Some of the, if we go to Matthew Tritt next, some of the initial posts we just put on the Love Ringwood, just to somewhere with the word love in. We stuck it on there. But yeah, it's the Love Ukraine one now.
It's just starting up, and with Kirsty's involvement, hopefully it will start to today. Yeah, you only just
no pressure.
You only found out today. Yeah. So yeah, it's
and there's an email address as well that I guess you guys, everyone aware of the email address?
It's on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Matthew.
I'm Matthew Trick. I'm the vicar of Ringwood Benefice. St John's Palmer, just down the road, has a hall which is very well used at the end of the afternoon and the evenings, but not that well used during the mornings. And we want to offer that hall as a space, because we anticipate some of the families being in the Palmer area, as a space where people can come, primarily for the fellowship and sense of community, because of course families are being displaced from loved ones and from their neighbours, but also we've got the Towfield room there, which doesn't have any hirers at the moment, and we can use for a base to store clothes and to sort clothes, and to have other facilities on hand. So if you want to make use of that, then please do speak to me or Kevin, or Owen or anyone, and we'll funnel messages through, but the hall will be available for that. The other thing that a lady called Alison Davis from one of my churches mentioned to me yesterday was that the Red Cross have the ability to source mobility equipment. So where our Ukrainian guests have mobility issues, I don't want to stereotype any one group, the Red Cross will supply mobility aids, so we can create that contact with Alison and the Red Cross, and there may be other organisations as well. Thank you.
Chris, did you want to say a word about the food bank side of what might be available?
Hi everybody, I'm a volunteer at Ringwood Food Bank, along with Louise and Claire and Kevin and lots of other people here. So yeah, we're obviously set up to alleviate poverty, and we recognise that refugees, guests coming out of Ukraine may not have very much. So we're very happy to support our guests until such time as universal credit or the get work or whatever kicks in. I think initially what we would like to do is provide a welcome pack. So that will consist of food for up to 7 days. We can also do toiletries, a range of that, feminine hygiene products and the like. And I think how we want to channel that is currently if your host is notified that a guest is going to be arriving, what we would ask is that currently we'll channel that through Owen until it all gets overwhelming and we need to back that up. And at which point we'll set up using our online referral system, and we would then ask the hosts perhaps to collect that welcome pack from our warehouse in Hangersley, so that's ready for when our guests arrive. I know that quite a lot of hosts are already in contact in some way, shape or form with guests, so if you can elicit some information on allergies and that sort of stuff, that would be helpful. I don't know whether it's relevant or not, but we can also do vouchers for gas and electricity for people on prepayment meters. Unfortunately, it's only for people on prepayment meters, but if people go into a separate set of premises where they have a prepayment meter, we can help with that. And we also currently have, and I'm hoping to get some more, a limited supply of SIM cards. And they come with 6 months free calls and texts and 20 gigabit of data a month. And again, we anticipate that people may not have sort of a working, and that's going to be frankly critical. I think that our guests are able to communicate. What I would suggest is that groups organising it, if you can possibly just canvass your members, and all of us have got slightly outdated smartphones lying around, and as long as they're restored to factory settings, then we should normally be able to put the SIM card straight in, and so they'll have a functioning phone. Those are the sort of things we can offer in help channeled through Owen. Just as on, I personally feel that having entertained a family who got out of Ukraine a couple of weeks ago, yesterday, that I've got the Ukrainian culture cracked, because all it took was some damson vodka and pickled garlic, and pickles are big, I'm told.
Brilliant. Brilliant. There was a hand down here as well.
I'm not sure if these questions are a bit too specific, but we know that the boy who is arriving will be 12 years old, and if he will be lucky and get placed in the secondary school, is there any way to receive school uniform? I mean, it's years since my kids were at school. Does the school have like a collection, or we don't know?
Oh. Can we get the mic?
I know that the infant schools certainly have a pre-loved stock that they could hand out, but I'm not quite sure about the junior schools. Secondary, again.
Oh, there's someone just a bit further back as well with a comment on that.
The secondary school PTA have just set up second-hand uniform that they're selling in reception, but I'm sure if you communicate with the PTA, they'd be able to help with that, because I know they've got quite a good supply that they keep.
Did you have another question as well? We're keeping Ian fit here. Getting his steps up in.
A question for Katia, because if our guests will have Ukraine driving license, can they drive in the UK?
Yes, they can. Since March last year, Ukraine's been in the list of the countries. So in the UK, they can drive, yeah, and they can also. But this is more for people who live in the UK. So I do have Ukrainian driving license, so I could swap it to UK driving license. But I think the general rule, I'll have to check, if with Ukrainian driving license, they can drive within the first year, and then the first year is 100% they can, and then whether they swap to UK driving license or they Karen will have to check with DVLA, I think. Yes, but definitely yes.
Great, and I have heard that it's relatively easy to register with the doctor, but does anybody know how easy it is for the dentist place?
Oh, Suzanne will be good at this because you've done it lots with our Syrian friends, haven't you?
It's incredibly difficult. There's a national shortage across the whole of the UK at the minute. We're having huge troubles with our Afghan families all over Hampshire at the minute. There are sometimes waiting lists. I mean, it's got to the point where dentists are actually saying we're not even taking waiting lists because they're 2 to 5 years long already. So in emergencies, you can go to Demira. They've got a lot of them scattered throughout, but that is literally an emergency, and otherwise they won't do anything. They might see you, but they won't do anything unless it's what they class as an emergency. So the only alternative at the minute is unfortunately private, which is extremely expensive. But that is literally the only workaround at the minute. It's a bit unfortunate. However, it might be that with the number of Ukrainian families coming, that something could be set up like a dentist bus or something like this, and then a gathering of families come to the health bus and that sort of thing to happen. So I think that's something to maybe keep in mind as a possibility.
Maggie, do you want to comment on the doctor side? Because I know you know one of the local doctors pretty well. It's your husband. And you're a doctor in your own right as well.
Well, you don't need any actual forms of ID to register with a GP, so they will be able to go in and get registered. I don't actually know what Cornerways are saying, but I just think people will be welcomed. Everybody is entitled to GP care. I work personally with DentAid, who are a homeless charity doing dental care. So I can't promise anything on their behalf, but we'll make some inquiries as to where they'd be placed with regard to doing dental care.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. There's a hand just there.
There was a mention of a 12-year-old. One of the hats I wear, I'm chair of the 3rd Ringwood Scouts, and we'll give a warm welcome to boys and girls of any age. And I'll be registering our information with...
Thank you.
Oh, another hand down here. Just down the front. Just where you come to the gentleman at the front. Just to clarify with the information that you're giving to Owen, if you can give as much detail as you can about if you have pets, if you smoke, if you don't smoke, so that we can match up families coming with you, families here, to get us, the best match we can, rather than just randomly do it. So if you can give us as much information as you can, within reason, about yourselves.
What we'll do though, if tonight, just put your contact details down, and then I'll get back in touch with you with the kind of information that will be helpful to have. So don't worry tonight. Just
don't write it publicly.
Right. Yeah, just express your interest, and then we'll get in touch. We'll work that all out.
Thank you. I had quite a hilarious time trying to get Google Translate to go into Ukrainian. I did it quite well. We couldn't tell what the output was and whether we'd said anything polite, rude, or accurate, but the only word that I recognized was carton, which was for obviously, it was carton for a cardboard box.
Carton, okay.
Is that all right? It's my first word of Ukrainian. But it's obviously got its dangers, because you never know what's coming out, but at least it's written as well. So I'll try and get hold of that free software. I don't know if a free translating device. The other thing my daughter-in-law said, which is a very thoughtful thing. She said, if there's a child of, let's say, 7, 8, that kind of thing, they're pretty impressed by getting stuff which is not totally in a rubbish bag. So she suggested putting it into tissue paper, putting it out somewhere where you can, the child can choose. It makes a lot of difference, and it creates a better transfer of psychology, and it's just an idea. It may not be valid, but she's a very thoughtful lady, so that might work. Okay, thank you.
Richard's got a comment here. Yes, I think that's extremely important, isn't it? I mean, these people are coming from a traumatized situation that most of us could never even imagine. You know, we're trying to use the word, I'm often using the word Ukrainian friends, because they are friends of Katia, they're friends of Katia, they're friends of mine, and they're our friends, aren't they? So I think that's really important. Some people do use the word refugee, but I think the word friend or guest is probably a better word to use. We are hosts, we're friends as well. I think it's lovely that those of you that have already been linked up with the Ukrainian family, you're having that contact already. Talking with a very dear Syrian family friend here just recently, he was saying that when they came to the UK some years ago, the hardest thing was getting off the plane and knowing nobody. But these friends that are coming here, they're already in contact with some of you. You're FaceTiming each other, you're chatting to each other. You are already friends, and they're already friends with you, which will make that transition a little bit easier. So I think the dignity side of things is really important. You guys want to comment more on that?
I'll reflect something actually that Lily said about her approach when she's been doing some of this is where maybe you want to say about how you, no, I'll say for you, okay. But is that rather than matching people, what she's been doing is actually, there's a host family and there's someone coming from Ukraine, a family perhaps. She's been putting them in touch with one another and allowing them to have a conversation and allowing the choice to be theirs, which I think is really important, that family coming from Ukraine, they've been robbed of a lot of choices. You know, they've been forced to do things, and to be able to say, look, here's a family that would be willing to receive you, but have a chat with them and see, you know, if you're comfortable. And then it's there rather than you're with these people, and it's like, yeah, and I'm sure everyone's really lovely, but it's just giving them that opportunity. So I thought that was a really, really good approach, and we'll be trying to adopt that as well, and just making more of an introduction, a first conversation, and both ways, because, you know, what's also really important is that it works, you know, and you know, because this is a commitment, it's a sacrifice, and we recognise, you know, people, you know, that are hosting are making a sacrifice. And we really want that to work for everybody involved, and for, you know, it could be for quite a while. We don't know how long it's going to be. So it's really important that it does work and it has the best chance of working. And also we're conscious that sometimes it won't work. You know, we can't guarantee it's going to work in every case. So that's one of the other things we want to make sure is that people don't feel that they're completely trapped. So we're also trying to get more hosts than we need, because then we've got choices, in the initial introduction. So it's like, this isn't just your only choice. We won't give them a list of choose one, I don't think, but it'll be, okay, if you're not comfortable, there's another way we can go. And also, if it doesn't work out when they're here, we've still got, so if people volunteer to host, it may not be the case that you get matched right now. It may be that, you know, it'll be in a few months' time because something doesn't work out, and we'll come back to you and say, you know, are you still interested? So I think all of that is so important. Yes. Yeah.
It's also further on from what you were saying just then about possibly volunteers to help take them out for the day. Yeah. So that the hosts don't have them all the time. We live in the country, and I'm going to be doing school runs if the child does go to school, or we're both going to be doing it. It might be nice sometimes if somebody was available to help with that, or pick up the child from school, or take them to Poulton's Park for the day. People who can't have families but might want to help.
It's a really, really good point. Something that Julie's working on, and we're setting up a buddy system. So we're getting exactly that, or a friendship, or a befriending thing, so that some of the hosting families, you know, have got other commitments. They're full on. Yeah, they may be coming home late in the evening, all that kind of stuff, and not have time, and that's fine. Yeah, we'll make that understood from the beginning, but we'll have that friendship mechanism for everyone. It won't. We don't want a situation where the sponsoring family, the hosting family, feels that there's no other place to go. So it's a really good point. Julie's kind of working on that. Julie, did you want to?
I just wanted to ask one more.
So hold on, Julie, just a moment. Wait for the mic. Yeah.
Just while the mic's going there, if there are any questions on the chat, you guys watching at home, if you're watching live, if someone can give us some of those comments, if there's anything that we haven't covered, that would be great, and we better wrap up in just a moment.
We've already started on a buddy list, trying to get people that maybe they don't have spare rooms or finance, but they've got time. They've got time to help us make up welcome packs, or maybe they've got time to take a family out for the afternoon for a picnic to relieve the host family. It's really important that we give every family the best chance of making the first introduction successful. And we're also really compiling a great list of hosts. So far, I don't know how many families have signed up so far, Owen. Is it about 20 or 30 so far? But yeah, it's going really well. But if there's anybody here that hasn't got a room but wants to be a buddy, we've got also visa buddies. I don't know who we've got on that list at the moment, but my husband Richard has now completed quite a few. Owen taught us all that we do. But visas, we can help you, because again, we don't want delay in getting these people through.
Kevin, did you?
I think just following on for that, one of the things we've recognised is that everybody's living their lives, and at this point in time, we've come out of 2 years of COVID, and it's not particularly easy here as well. Yet people are being generous and stepping up. So we want to ensure that people can do that, and that there's effectively a network of us here that can work and walk alongside you, so that you're not alone, and so the Ukrainian families are not alone. So it is really about that spirit of coming together and working together.
Yes, all the friends who are arriving to Poland, from Ukraine they can go to Moldova, but main route is through Poland. Once they got visas, they can fly. I know one of my, I don't know them personally, but one taxi driver got Ukrainian wife, and they got a family who flew from Poland to Southampton. So, but there will be flights from Poland. I know that Wizz Air airline, they provide a free flights. But my other friend, she's English translator, and she has already checked with other airline, and she said for both, for her and for her daughter, the ticket was like £30 for two. So they're really, knowing this situation, they're really cheap. So we could check the flight from Poland to Bournemouth or to Southampton, or because when we were going to Ukraine, we mainly used the Wizz Air, and the planes arrived to Luton, London Luton Airport. And I don't know about other airlines, but it will be flights. Yeah, we already checked, so it will be flights from Poland to Ukraine.
That point, I think Ryanair are allowing you to fly without a passport. So if you've got families that don't have any passports, Ryanair are definitely, I imagine that Wizz Air probably are as well. But I know that Ryanair are. And also, all UK trains are free for 48 hours from landing in the UK. So if they fly to London, they can get on any train as long as they have their visa document to show that they're a Ukrainian refugee. But it's only valid from landing for 48 hours, so it allows them to get to their host.
I also just wanted to mention that there's a really good video from the Sanctuary Foundation, which I don't know if someone else was going to mention, but just to say that they did like a webinar a few weeks ago to talk about mostly just how to accept a Ukrainian or any refugee into your home, and some of the things that they were talking about dignity and some small things that we can do to make people feel like human beings and friends rather than, you know, refugees. So if you haven't seen that, it's on YouTube, and we can put a link on the Facebook page.
We will make that available in due course, for everybody that gets involved. Yeah.
Excellent. Are there any questions on the chat? Lily's got the headphones on. Cheers. Are there any questions we haven't covered? Excellent. Okay. Should we kind of close it there? Because I'm conscious we've gone a bit beyond when we said we'd go, but thank you for staying. If people do have extra questions, you guys are going to be around for a little bit. Let's chat amongst ourselves. We'll turn the lights on so we can see what we're doing. And thank you for being here tonight. And I say we pray. Let me literally pray as we finish this. So God, we prayed at the beginning. We want to pray again now. Thank you that you've helped us through tonight. God, thank you that you're going to help us welcome these friends with dignity. And Lord God, we pray that you would help us to do everything we need to do, both the people that are going to host, the people who are going to buddy, the whole systems of welcoming children into homes and doctors and dentists and all that sort of stuff. God, we pray that you would help us to make this a really special place of refuge for our dear friends. And as they go through that process of traveling across Ukraine, as they go through the process of filling in all the paperwork, God, we pray that you would help them and help us to match people up well. Help people to come to families and places where they're going to feel so welcomed and so loved and so able to contribute to our community as well. Amen. Okay, so stick around as long as you want. Keep asking questions, sign up, and thanks for being here tonight. And thanks for watching online, either live or later.